On this episode of Just Seen It, we review the return of John McClane in A Good Day to Die Hard.
Kind of thought we'd just wing it, run in, guns blazing, make it up as we go.
John McClane is going to Russia because he thinks his son has committed a crime, and very early on in the film, he discovers his son is actually a spy.
Side effects from director Steven Soderbergh.
I just got your message. I'm with my wife.
I went to your office, but you weren't there. So I came here and, could we just go talk?
The tone change goes along with the story structure and what the story is trying to tell.
And the fantasy drama, Beautiful Creatures.
Calling us witches is like calling the smart kids geeks or the athletes jocks. We prefer the term caster.
Well, they really had a true love thing going on, and I was really rooting for them to end up together.
All right here on Just Seen It. John McClane travels to Russia when his estranged son Jack is accused of murder.
Jack! Dad?
After a daring courtroom escape, he discovers Jack is a CIA operative.
The 007 of Plainfield, New Jersey.
Together, they fight to take down a corrupt Russian politician in A Good Day to Die Hard.
Hi, my name is Leah.
I'm Salim.
And I'm Sean, and today is A Good Day to Die Hard, the fifth installment of the Die Hard franchise. So yippee-ki-yay, we've all just seen it. Who wants to start?
I will go. I have been a fan for a very long time. I think the first movie is a perfect example of action done right. It's got comedy, it's got tension, it's great. Whereas I feel like the fifth one, it has none of that. He's Superman. He's indestructible. Whereas the first movie, he was having to walk through glass. He's very human.
No, there's no fragility. I mean, that moment in Die Hard 1 where he's in the bathroom and his feet are cut and he's like, I'm gonna die, and he's talking to Al Powell on the walkie-talkie. Gone.
None of that.
Not here.
Unfortunately, it kind of fell short.
Did it die hard?
Jeez. It's okay. I'm fine, thanks. Get out of the way! Sorry, man! Oh, man! Knock, knock.
It's the weakest of the five pictures. I can say that right off the bat. A lot of that has to do with the writing. And in a way, it's sort of a streamlined version of the fourth film. It's only 97 minutes, and it's just a lot of slam-bang action from beginning to end. It's not very well written, but I was still entertained. I had a good time.
I think that if it's not part of the franchise, then you don't put the Die Hard name or the stars in it. You go off and make your own film.
Right.
That's the benefit of being part of a franchise, is that you get to reap the riches and the loyalty from the fans for the last 25 years, and it did not live up to what came before it. The writing was largely sophomoric, and it was devoid of all of the humor, the wit, the charm, the irony that we found in the earlier iterations of this franchise. And so as a result, all we're left with, you say slam bang action, I say just terse narrative drive, which, by the way, somehow they didn't find room for a second act. It's missing a second act, which would have provided us with the level of development needed for us to buy into this family melodrama.
You remember the last time we talked just before you went away?
No! You're not gonna open up to me right before we die!
It was written by Skip Woods, and it just wasn't very exciting. The jokes they just fell short. And this movie, like you said, Bruce Willis is like a fish out of water, which is when John McClane is at his best. He's out of water with technology, and I feel like that was missing in this film.
The interesting thing about 4 is that you have this buddy pairing that's happening in 4, and there is plenty of time for those characters to get to know each other and for there to be an exchange of knowledge where each of them impacts the other's lives. I mean, that's what happens in the genre. You don't get any of that in this one. It's kind of like, oh, hi, my son does this. Oh, hi, this is what the situation is, and let's just go get it.
John McClane is going to Russia because he thinks his son has committed a crime, and very early on in the film, he discovers his son is actually a spy. And there's really no change in John McClane's attitude toward his son at all. It's like, he was a criminal, he's a spy, I'm going to treat him exactly the same. I'm kind of wondering, what's going on there? A lot of these one-liners and a lot of the great lines are missing from this character that make John McClane such an indelible figure in the action genre.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Bruce Willis, however, fits into these shoes pretty nicely. I think he just slips right back into the role. It's not as interesting maybe as it could have been.
It felt like they were really trying as hard as possible to capture the comedy, to capture the aesthetic of the other movies without actually having it written into it.
He doesn't really emote very well as John McClane.
Jai Courtney plays his son, Jack.
Jai Courtney plays his son, Jack. Thank you very much for that. Yeah. And he's cute, and he seemed appropriately appalled that, his father would show up in Russia. Dad, or excuse me, John.
Yeah. I liked him. He has the physicality. Their chemistry wasn't amazing, but I thought that was the problem with the writing.
I thought Jai Courtney was fine. I'm a little afraid that they're sort of doing the Shia LaBeouf thing in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, where they're saying, well, Bruce Willis is getting older, he can't be in all these movies, so we're gonna bring in some fresh blood, and then we can spin the franchise off into something else.
What is this, a pirate gun? It's old school. Like you, right?
Right. Let's talk about the directing a little bit. John Moore.
John Moore directed Flight of the Phoenix, the remake, The Omen remake, Max Payne most recently. I was a little worried considering that track record.
And you should still be worried.
I'm still a little bit worried, but there are some things he does. There's some quick zooms in here. There's very claustrophobic close-ups that at first I was like,
what's going on?
What is going on here? As the movie progressed, I kind of got used to it, and I just sort of settled into the fact that this is the kind of picture I'm getting, and for what the picture was, I had fun. It was a good time.
The tone was just off. He didn't know what to do with those really intense close-ups that, that's normally where we feel an emotional connection to characters. It's not happening.
I love action scenes, but when we have stuff that is not grounded, where the suspension of disbelief just completely takes me out of the movie, I feel like that's why Die Hard worked, is that it had crazy things happening, but you could believe it possibly happening. This movie has absolutely none of that.
Oh, come on, you didn't buy that car chase? I loved that opening car chase sequence. It was just so over the top. But that's the last time I remember having fun in the movie. I'm not looking for a whole lot of depth here. It's the 5th Die Hard. But I need to have fun in the movie, right?
The action was great from time to time, but because of the massive suspensions of disbelief and the poor writing, it sullies an otherwise enthralling experience. Stream it.
Die Hard loyalists are going to see the 5th installment anyway. But they've been around for 25 years and they deserve better than this. Skip it.
It's below average for a Die Hard picture, but it's above average for a typical action picture, especially one in February. I think people will have a good day with this Die Hard. See it.
All right, our votes add up to 1.5 tickets, which is a stream it for A Good Day to Die Hard.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Is it true in Germany this franchise is called The Hard?
After he is released from jail, Martin and Emily try to restart their lives.
Going away is hard, so is coming back forever.
Suffering from anxiety, her psychiatrist prescribes her a potent new drug.
You can't follow them around, taking things out of their hands they might use to hurt themselves.
When the drug causes unexpected results, Emily's life starts to unravel in Side Effects.
Hi, I'm Aaron.
Hi, I'm Salim.
And I'm Liz, and we're here today to discuss Steven Soderbergh's final film.
Hope not.
Maybe, Side Effects. We've all just seen it. How are we feeling on this one?
So this is a script from Scott Burns, who has worked with Soderbergh in the past on Contagion and The Informant. It starts a little slow, it seems like it doesn't really know where it's going, but it gets better as time progresses, and about halfway through the film, something pretty intense happens, and then the script really just changes constantly throughout the rest of the film, and I enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed this movie because it's really about audience expectations about what a thriller is, and it subverts them in so many different ways. If it was just about the pharmaceutical company, I feel like it would have ran out of steam at a certain point, maybe halfway through the movie. And that's when things start to change, and I feel like that's when I really got invested in the film.
The point is, the cardiologist can see it coming, the heart attack, from the tests. It's in the blood. But who can see the lies?
Guys, I completely disagree with you. This movie very much angered me, and I felt like it was a waste of time. I'm a Soderbergh fan, and I think he works with really good material. I feel like this movie's script sets you up for certain expectations, and then it undermines those expectations. And it didn't work for me. It seems to have worked for you too. But personally,
It's subverting expectations.
I thought it undermined. And for me, the thesis of a film is in the ending. What is the director trying to say? And the ending of this film is worlds apart from the beginning, and now I'm lost. I don't know what we're trying to say with this film.
It's a manipulative script about manipulation, if you think about it. And we have more and more mysteries revealed, and yes, it ends differently than we expected to, but I don't think that that's necessarily a fault of the film. I mean, we're watching a different movie by the end, but I think it earns that in some ways.
And I think that the tone change goes along with the story structure and what the story is trying to tell.
Manipulation! Okay, well, but the beginning of this film is so fascinating. I'm with you guys, like, for the first half of this film, because this movie becomes about where do you separate intentions in terms of criminal activity? Where do you draw the line between victimization, manslaughter, murder, and murderous intent? And I loved that. And you said it started out slow. For me, I love that slow, ponderous thriller quality about the film. And then as twists start to unravel, I feel that they're, first of all, dramatically not structured very well and not planted in that first half of the film to be meaningful in the second half.
It does become a completely different movie, and I know we've all agreed on that, but I think that the performances really help that. I mean, Rooney Mara is outstanding. She's fragile, she's distraught. The choices that she makes in the beginning of the film felt disingenuous to me, but then when the twist happens, you understand there was a reason for it. She did it on purpose.
No, I completely agree. I feel like the two leads, Jude Law and Rooney Mara, they both have to go through so many different changes in this film, and I feel like that was so fascinating. I did not like Jude Law's character at the very beginning in this movie.
Well, he is a cliche. He's like British psychotherapist.
I really need to talk to you.
Emily. Yeah, I just got your message. I'm with my wife.
Can we just go talk?
If it's an emergency, I can admit you.
It made me feel, I don't like this doctor. Our doctors are really like, this is what they're doing. But that's the credit of the film, is that it brings in your own interpretations and expectations of what these characters are, and then it completely subverts them.
Right.
Which is what the characters in the movie are doing to everybody else around them.
I think they're gonna charge her.
With what? You said she has no memory, no criminal intent. They can't do that.
And of course, Steven Soderbergh at the helm of this one. He's got 24 major motion pictures. He's clearly at the top of his game. He knows what he's doing. I don't think this one had a lot of stylistic flourish, though, like we've seen before in things such as Haywire or the Ocean's trilogy, but it does have the Soderbergh stamp.
I love the technical aspects of this film. Steven Soderbergh, he knows exactly how to direct a movie. And I feel the thriller aspect works really well with his naturalistic style. And he was able to pull the rug out from under us like so many times, and I loved it. I thought it was great.
I just hope it's not his last film, because I think it would be unfortunate. I know you guys disagree with me, but I did enjoy the fact that Soderbergh takes up this trope that he's been doing as of late, which is examining the strata of every aspect of his topic at hand. This film examined pharmaceuticals, the patients, the doctors that prescribed it, the stock market, and how that's affected. It really was thorough.
Well, and there was a little bit of a problem in the way that we were revealed these mysteries, and I know that you think that it happened a little fast.
Yeah, the pacing of the movie was, especially after the second half of the movie, but I was okay with it because it was mysteries, it was twists, it was turns, and I was on board with the ride.
Unearned twists, unearned mysteries.
You're not wrong. I walked out of it wondering, okay, wait, so he did do this and this happened, but what happened here? And then, we had to piece it together, Saleem and I, but it made sense by the end of it.
A lot of the decisions that were made by Rooney Mara's character at the end of the film don't make any sense, considering the care and the time she took in her character's deviousness in the first half.
Side Effects is a taut thriller that may surprise just about everybody who checks it out, so I say see it.
Side Effects is 50% of a well-made movie. I say, Skip it.
Side Effects will keep you guessing from beginning to end, as all great thrillers should. See it.
Well, it looks like our votes add up to 2 tickets, which is a stream it for Side Effects. Cheers. It's a compromise, guys.
Our DVD pick of the week is Flight, starring Denzel Washington, and directed by USC alumnus Bob Zemeckis.
How you feeling, Whit? Looked like you pulled some kind of move up there, man. You saved a lot of lives.
We are in a dive.
I have no control on my side.
We going down? Everybody embrace positions.
When we reviewed this last fall, we were divided on the verdict. Leah said see it, but Liz and Aaron said stream it. Denzel's been nominated for Best Actor, and we all agree that it's well-deserved. Also out this week is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, which was our reviewer Kevin Taft's top pick for 2012.
Just asking myself, why do I and everyone I love pick people who treat us like we're nothing?
We accept the love we think we deserve.
If you haven't seen Perks, you really need to check out this great coming-of-age story from writer and director Stephen Chbosky. So there you have it, 2 great movies for your home theater viewing.
Ethan meets Lena, a girl he believes is part of his recurring dream.
Makes any difference, I like you.
Lena possesses supernatural powers, but is threatened by an ancient family curse.
I can teach you how to use them. I can teach you how to become the most powerful dark caster who ever lived. Oh, that's so sweet of you, Mama.
Ethan must help Lena choose between dark and light in Beautiful Creatures.
Hi, I'm Kevin.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Aaron, and today we're here to discuss Beautiful Creatures. We've all just seen it. Kevin, why don't you start off?
Beautiful Creatures is actually based on a young adult novel of the same name, which is actually a series of 4 books by Kami Garcia and Margaret Stohl. And it takes place in a South Carolina town. This southern guy meets this new girl in town. All the people in the town think that she's a Satanist, and you find out, actually, she's a witch, or as she likes to call herself, a caster.
I was so pleasantly surprised by this movie. The writing is really surprisingly good. It walks the line between horror and fantasy. There are scary elements to it. There's a lot of suspense, but it never goes into, a true horror movie. And it's very fantastical.
Okay, I'm just a dumbass mortal who can't make his own thunder, but I know there's no way we're gonna figure this out unless you stop feeling so damn sorry for yourself all the time. Go ahead! Start an earthquake. See where it gets you.
The writing is a story that's been told before, but it's not hackneyed, and there are some cool twists. And
there's some really cute banter between the 2 lead characters.
Yeah. They philosophize a little bit. They talk about religion, and not always so kind of in the negative, because it starts out a little negative, and then there's actually some positive stuff in there,
Well, they have deep thoughts in this movie.
Yeah.
They've got thoughts about the nature of life and the nature of humanity and exactly philosophy. You're watching it going, well, that's interesting how they put that in. And then there's a whole theme about books and knowledge and, outsiders versus insiders and bullies versus not. There's a lot of themes running through this movie that make it more complicated.
However, I feel like that's the problem, is that there was so much going on.
Yeah, it felt a little
it was a little bogged down. Yeah, and there was about halfway through, I got a little there's so much mythology.
It's interesting that this film that just seemed like it was going to be a supernatural romance had a discussion about what we as human beings do and why we love and why we have emotion.
I understand that it might feel a little bit bogged down, but I would so much rather that than what I thought I was walking into, which was going to be this bland novel.
Twilight with witches.
Yeah, I mean, there were parts of it that were bland, and there were parts that were really cliche. Alice Englert, who plays Lena Duquesne, she's quirky, she's fun.
Not to bring up Twilight again, but I think she would have been a better Bella. She just has a more natural beauty and realism to her.
I mean, calling us witches is like calling the smart kids geeks or the athletes jocks. We prefer the term caster.
Our lead character of Ethan Waitt is a reader and a little bit of a nerd, and he likes all of the books in Gatlin, South Carolina that are banned, things like Slaughterhouse-Five or Clockwork Orange or Fahrenheit 451, and so that's a unique element about his character.
And the chemistry between them is really, really good.
Yeah, it starts off awkward, and then, they realize that they're sort of meant to be together.
During their makeout moment that they have, it really felt very boyfriend-girlfriend-y. It was very sweet and playful. They had this great dynamic that was, they really had a true love thing going on, and I was really rooting for them to end up together.
You can't complain about not having any friends and then make a guy work this hard trying to be one. Unless you actually do think I'm a jerk.
Jeremy Irons is in this film playing Macon Ravenwood, the uncle of Lena Duquesne, and he is a reclusive man in this town. It seems that his family founded the town and he's got tons of money. I enjoyed him. He brought a lot of humor to the film, but he was a little underused.
Usually he plays such really heavy and characters, and this time he got to loosen up.
Yeah, he's lighthearted. He brings comedy.
Yeah. Exactly.
He makes jokes about Google.
Yeah.
He does make Google jokes.
He's creepy, but he's still caring.
The accusations against my niece are all spurious lies. For according to the Weather Channel, and you can verify this on Google, there were unseasonably strong gusts from the east which caused untold destruction up and down the South Carolina coast.
The writer and director of this film is Richard LaGraveness, who has directed Freedom Writers, P.S. I Love You. He also wrote The Fisher King. There are some unique things about the way the film looks, and I enjoyed it.
It wasn't Addams Family Camp, and it wasn't Tim Burton so stylized that that's the main part of the movie.
It's kind of in the middle of all that.
It was in the middle,
Yeah.
exactly, which was really nice. It was whimsical.
And the costumes were really, really interesting.
The casters were wearing Hot Topic, and the girls were wearing everything else.
But it was cool. I mean,
it was cool.
It
I
was
was
nice
like,
to
do I
have,
like this? I don't know.
It was nice to have a visual difference.
Speaking of the way it looked, I thought the special effects here were clearly CGI, and I didn't really think that they were that effective. I mean, you know, overall, I think that the film is very handsome looking, so I was able to excuse it, but it did look a little cartoony to me.
It has a nice gloss overall, but there are times where it feels out of place.
I don't think Beautiful Creatures is going to take over the Twilight franchise, but I do think it's an interesting Southern Gothic spellbinder, just not bewitching enough for me to say run to the theater. I say stream it.
Beautiful Creatures isn't exactly my cup of tea, but it's surprisingly well made and engaging, so I say see it.
I was pleasantly surprised by this movie. It's a sweet story with enough plot twists to make it enjoyable. I say see it.
Well, it looks like our votes add up to 2.5 tickets, which is a see it for Beautiful Creatures.
Cheers. I declare.
Here at Just Seen It, as cantankerous as we might sound from time to time, we understand the necessity to try and tell stories to entertain. People make art to shed light on the human experience. When we critique a movie or TV show, we do so with good intentions at heart. All of us are aspiring filmmakers, so when we review a movie or TV show, we bring that to the table. We all want a chance to get our work to audiences, so when we see a film that has glaring errors, we feel like the filmmaker has been irresponsible with their opportunity. Every film, no matter what genre, should always be trying to say something. In that same vein, if a filmmaker has used their opportunity responsibly and has made something that has the potential to move or entertain audiences, we want to support their work. You may disagree with our reviews, but our intentions are always to figure out what might be a valuable viewing experience for you. Thanks for watching.
On the next episode, we review the new Nicholas Sparks romantic drama, Safe Haven, the fantasy adventure, Jack the Giant Slayer, and the new political drama from Netflix, House of Cards, starring Kevin Spacey, where all 13 episodes are available at the same time. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
Usitahuje! Поясните Daniela! What? Это Москва! Не мы станция! Да! Do you think I understand a word you're saying?